Hey everybody, it's Big E. Welcome to Big E's YouTube channel. We're on part 2, feels like part 2000 of how to resuscitate a used up, busted up Corvette. But here we are, part 2 of the suspension. Yesterday we left off, I'm just trying to position myself, sorry guys. We left off with the upper control arm with putting the bushings in. So what we're going to do is we're going to now work on reassembling everything. So we'll go ahead and move you in here. We have where this bolt goes and go to the front. I gotta see if I can move back here a little bit, if you guys can see better. I don't know. So what we're going to do, we'll go ahead and start with assembly. We can't forget this washer. That's going to go on here, and that's going to fit between your, you see the housing, and then there. You're going to have that washer in there for, it acts like a thrust washer, kind of. So, keep that in mind. So we're going to go ahead with our new bolt that we got, our grade 8 bolt we got from our trusty, dusty, overpriced hardware store, grade 8. We're going to, so basically you're going to put this through with a washer here on the bushing side. So basically both sides you're going to have a washer, okay? We're going to go ahead like that. You see where that came through. Now, for our next trick, I'm just going to hand tighten this. I thought I had a washer. I have to go look for one. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'm just going to have this on here. I'm going to put this nut on just for location purposes, okay? So you can see it's loose. Now, we're going to go ahead and put the front part on. And I'm not quite sure. They have a hole here in the frame. You can't see it. That nut, when you go to put it in there, it's going to fall in there because I lost one already, so I had to buy other ones. So what you're going to want to do is, and I'll wait, get yourself one of these handy dandy needle nose vice grip. If you don't have one of those and you try to do this, you're going to hate your life. You're going to be calling the 1-800 suicide prevention line if you do not have one of these. And I'll show you why. So, if you don't have one, do yourself a favor. Hit pause right now. Go to Harbor Freight, go to some tool supply warehouse, and get you one of these vice grip needle nose. Okay? Trust me on this one, or you're going to hate your life. So, I gotta go grab some bolts. I'll be right back. You go grab that needle nose vice grip, and we meet back here, alrighty? Okay, Biggie, I'm back. Alright, so while you guys were hopefully getting your needle nose vice grip that you're going to need for this, I went ahead and I was checking out some stuff. Shoot, forgot to get the washer. Well, we're going to wait. We have other problems. So, I'm going to have you look here. You can see this is not going to line up. Here's where you need to be. That's where you are. You see the problem there. It's not lining up. This is one of the reasons why I said only take one control arm out at a time. So what I did is, let me just get this so that it's somewhat a little tighter, so it holds it in place a little better. So what I did was I got a jack here, and I have it a block of wood. Now I'm going to move the brake thing. Look at your sway bar. Look at this link. Look how much of an angle. That should be straight up and down. So that tells me the rear end rotated to the rear. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jack up carefully on the jack with the block of wood. Look how it's, and you're moving closer. See how that's moving? We're almost there. All right. Now, you can see how close we are to that lining up. So what I'm going to do is, this bolt has a tip on it if you look correctly. That should help with lining it up. But if not, you can use a drift punch, something like that, a small screwdriver, which I might do here because I forgot my drift punch. Now, so there we go. That's lined up pretty gosh darn good right there. So hopefully our bolt is starting to go through a little bit. All right, so you can see there we got the bolt somewhat through. Okay, so we're almost have the rear located where it should be. Now comes what I refer to as the suicidal part, because now you're basically going to be putting the washer and the nut, you're going to be doing it blind, is what you're going to be doing. We have a little bit of an alignment issue, so what I'm going to do is I have my impact here with the 18 millimeter socket on it. So I'm going to go ahead with that. I'm going to try and see if I can get that to go in. When we see it move, we're going to stop. Okay, so I can feel the tip of the bolt in there. So what I'm going to try and do is, if possible, hang that on there, okay? Now, it looks like it's staying. Here's where the vice grip trick comes in. You're going to take this nut that goes on the back side. We're going to just hold that, okay? So now we're going to go ahead. I don't like to do it this way because it's so easy to cross thread stuff, but we're going to carefully try and get this in there if at all possible. I might actually have to, believe it or not, I might have to move it out. So this might take a couple tries to get this. So now we're going to try we have success. Ladies and gentlemen, you saw it here first. Something actually worked the first time I did it. Unbelievable. Ladies and gentlemen, today is what? March 6th, 2021. Mark this date down. The first day that Big E did something that actually worked, that he thought in his head or mentally masturbated it to death. So anyway, this is kind of in place. Other than needing the washer and doing final tightening on that, that upper control arm is done. So now we can go ahead, we can let the jack down. Okay? Now it's nice and up and down. So we'll put the brake caliper up here again. I know some people are cringing right now. Why do you have it hanging on the hose? I usually don't like to do that. I usually would have it zip tied up. But for whatever reason I don't. Now that that's done, we're going to remove the lower control arm. So this is basically going to be a textbook of what we did with the upper one. So you want to make sure, watch with the your parking brake cable, which I may relocate anyway. Yeah. So we're going to go, and we're going to need our, I believe it's either 18 or 19 again. I don't quite remember. Okay, so there's that. Alright, so now, as you can see, that bolt is crooked. It has weight on it. So remember what I said the other day. We're going to go ahead. We have to move the jack. Back to where we had it. So we can take the weight of the body off the suspension. Or the sprung weight, I forget what to call it. But let me jack this up. And then we're going to go ahead and continue here. So we're going to keep jacking up until that bolt comes free. So for whatever reason, it's not coming loose for us. So sometimes you need to, although that is pretty good like that. Let me get my pry bar here. Oh, there we go. So that's out. So again, let's keep our nuts and bolts together here so we don't get them confused. So now the next one will be the inside. And this one really looks bad. This bushing is terrible looking. I will show you that when I get the lower control arm off. And I believe this was also 15/16, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so that obviously I left in the garage. So I'm going to pause here. I'm going to get the 15/16. I'm going to get that washer right away that we forgot for the upper one. I'm going to put that on right away so that way everything is completed as we go here. Not that I got to go back and finish stuff up and you forget. So I'm going to pause here. When I come back, we're going to whiz off this lower control arm and put that washer on. Hang tight. Alright, it's Big E, I'm back. So anyway, just digging around for that washer. This is what I found, but the problem is it's so big I had to, let me see here. I can't even get it off now, which is alright. What happened was it's a big washer, as far as has a big shoulder on it, as you can see. And I actually ground a flat on the washer so it fit around the housing. So it'll actually give a better grip on there, better protection. And also spread the load that the nut is putting on there. So I'm going to go ahead and maybe what I'll do then is once that's in place, I'm going to go ahead, take my impact, actually I don't think this is going to, the joys of doing it live, the lack thereof. I think this will fit in. I thought my impact would fit. Obviously not. What we're going to do, we're just going to pull this in. If need be, I'll have to get a second combination wrench to tighten that up. We'll see how tight we can get it. Put some torque on there. That ain't moving, so that's tight. Okay, so we have to tighten that yet. What did I say? Sometimes I wish I had Chad on here so people could remind me what I used. I think, what was it, 19 millimeter was on the backs. It was on for that front one. I believe so. My next trick will be actually finding a 19 millimeter socket, or 18. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on the impact. Let's see. I want that on fasten. Remove it, I'll be very upset. So I'll tighten it up. There we go, so that's tight. Alright, so now moving on to removing the lower control. Again, 15/16. So we're going to go ahead and try and hold that. Let's switch it around to the open end. It's just spinning. Oh, you know what? Forgot to flip it. Okay, so we got the nut off. So we can disconnect that for now. We have a spacer washer, or thrust washer, I should say. And now, you ever just get to the point of project, you have so many tools, you don't know where everything is, but it's right in front of you. Alright. So what I'm going to try now is actually putting the car down a little bit onto the suspension. See if that helps our situation here. Okay. So that bolt we can't get out because it's hitting the back of that. So with that in mind, keep this thrust washer. Let me bring the camera over if I have room here with all my crap now. On the back side here is where I'm going to have that washer. See the bolt there? Here's the washer. Make sure you have that there as your thrust washer. Okay? So now we have the lower control arm is removed from the car. And as you can see, that, my friends, not just ugly, in my opinion, will be an inspection mechanic for a few years, unsafe. So we're going to take care of that. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to skip the part where we did the bushings. It's the same thing. I'll be doing the same exact thing as I did in part 1, I believe, of where I drill the holes around the center, knock it out with a screwdriver, Vaseline, polish, put the new bushings in, yada yada yada. So I'm going to go ahead and pause it, and when I get back, we're going to go ahead and put that back on. Alright? Okay, Biggie, back here. We got our lower control arm rebushing, rebuilt, whatever term you want to use, but it's ready to get put back in the car. So, remember I said last time is that one end is going to have the bigger part, And that goes to your rear end housing. And this goes to your front mount on the car. So, hopefully without much further ado, I'm going to, let me move this out of the way so you can, hopefully I can give you a better camera angle of what's going on here. Okay, so drop it down here to what you can see. So we're right here. So we're going to go ahead and let me see how I can do this that you can see, but the camera's not in the way. You almost have to have that bolt just barely there. So our other issue we're going to have now is that the rear rotated. As you can see, our bolts here are here, pieces there. Now I might pick up a little bit if I go ahead and if I tap, if I can get to it, if I tap on. But that's as much as I'm going to get. And then I'm against where the mount is for that. Although at this time, now that I think about it, might not be a bad time to put that front bolt in just to help locate it. So, too bad I didn't have the camera. But anyway, this is what we're up against, okay? So I'm going to go ahead, see if I can do anything to rotate this rear. There's some movement there. Ooh, took my glove off. You still need, almost there, folks. All right, so now problem will be that the dust shield's in the way of what we need to do here. So I may or may not, let me try tapping that in. That wasn't good at all. At all. All right. Yep. Well, I guess that's to make up for earlier when it went together. So, another failed attempt. Not failed, but I'm going to have to go and repress that in. So, while I do that, I'm going to hit pause here. Come back, we'll try it again. Alright, Biggie, I'm back. We got the lower control arm back in and tight. Got that sleeve pressed in. So the next thing I'm going to work on is getting the rotors and brakes on. Which, now that I think of it, we'll probably just get the rotor on and tighten down the dust shield. So, like you said, you're going to need a 10mm wrench on this. Let me make some room here. And this one's kind of moving a little bit. Now we'll fix that. Just got bent up a little bit. We'll line it up with the bolt hole. And hopefully, like I said, you're going to need a 10 millimeter. And I had it here. Of course, it's the one that's furthest away. Of course. So, alright, that one's not behaving. We'll put this one in next. At least we'll get two of them in, and then we'll see what we need to do. Because with moving everything around, especially when you're talking like a tin shield, it's going to get bent up. Air tools would be nice, but they won't fit in as tight of a spot, so you have to go ahead and wrench it out. Unfortunately, there's that one. I'm going to start with this one. Thank goodness there's only 3 of them, not 6. Let's see how many times I can hit myself in the face with the wrench before I move back. Alright, so now we have that on. Next is our that. I have to go get the C-clamp. We're going to put the caliper on next. Alright guys, Biggie, I'm back. We're finally getting down to putting the shocks on the car. So this is the hardware that came off the shock that was on the car. You see how it's all yuck. For lack of a better term, it looks yuck. So what I'm going to do is take some Scotch-Brite and clean it up a little bit where the shock rides. Clean that end up. Yep. So then what we want to do, I mean, it's better. Got some of that off. Now what I want to do is take some anti-seize and we're going to put some anti-seize, paint some on there.
That's cool.
Yes, Levi. So that way, it also is going to help with assembly. So now, what we're going to do, we're going to take our new piece, our angelic music, please. La. B8 Bilstein Z51 spec shock. Now, we're not going to tighten this though. Like I said earlier, the mount that's on the rear is on about a 35 degree to 30 degree angle. So you're going to need to be able to move this. And if you have it tight, you won't be able to move it. So, in fact, I'm going to back this off even more. So that way it gives you some play. So we have hardware top, hardware bottom. Yep. So what we're going to do, now that that's done, we're going to go ahead, we're going to try installing this on the car, and then we're going to wrap this thing up because I'm tired. I'm getting beat. So we'll see in a little bit. Alright, it's Big E. I'm back. So we're going to go ahead and install this shock. See if I can get you in there so you can see what's happening. So we're going to go ahead. And I should have gave myself more room than what I did here. It's like 3/4 of my tools are out here in the way. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to fish the shock up. And that bolt. Just going to hand tighten that nut on there. Okay, so now comes the fun part, not so fun part of getting the